I'll just blab a little more here. I'm almost done. We were talking about satisfaction. Okay. God wants you satisfied. Whatever you do it until you're satisfied. It's that simple. Okay. Now, I'm not going to stop saying this. Cocoa powder satisfies you more for less than any other substance on planet Earth because it's called God food. And that's why you want it. Trust me. And every greedy, money-worshipping retail outlet, okay, does not want you to know that. Well, you've got to stand against them, and you've got to defy it and say, I'm consuming my God food like the Mayans did. Thank you very much. And I'm going to be happier and healthier and live longer than all of you. Thank you. Goodbye. Stop taking my money. Thank you very much. And killing me at the same time. You know, I was considering making a video, The Evil Easter Bunny, because it's prostituted chocolate, yada, yada, yada. But anyways, the thief comes to steal and to kill and to destroy. That's what all of these dumb products do. They're all trash. They're all garbage. They're all created by non-Christian people that just want your money. And they know nothing about health, and they don't spend any time in prayer, and so they don't get any true secrets from God. And they're all in darkness themselves, and it's all a giant slavery fest. And I'm tired of seeing sheeple follow sheeple and just be in chains everywhere. It really... So, I follow God. And that's what God wants you to do. And Jesus said, let them alone. They be blind leaders of the blind. And if the blind lead the blind, they will both fall into the ditch. You follow God. Jesus even said that at the end of one of the Gospels when one of the disciples was saying, hey, what about him? What about him? What about him? And Jesus is saying, what about him? You follow me. It's amazing to me, this concept of you choosing personally to love God personally and say, I am going to follow God personally and be true to myself in Him. And it doesn't matter if 100 billion humans do not follow me, if 100 billion humans hate my guts, if 100 billion humans never listen to anything I have to say, if 100 billion humans never care one bit. I don't care because I'm following God as best as I know Him and as best as I hear Him today and as best as I understand Him today. That is paradise. That is honesty. That is truth and blessing. 101. You cannot grow in the Lord without perfect honesty. You cannot grow without candidness. Okay? So, oh my. But, okay. So it's all about your satisfaction, okay? God wants you satisfied, okay? Your satisfaction brings God's satisfaction. You are joined to the Lord. You're one spirit with Him. It's awesome. I cannot stop saying how much pure cocoa powder will do for you. In terms of your feelings, your diet, your head space, the way your brain feels day and night, on and on. And I can say this as someone who has come through and has come out of all, just the North American food racket, which is hideous beyond reason. And that's why I'm prophesying a total overhaul and a total revolution and a complete changing of the guard and a complete landslide victory in my lifetime over crappy food. Let's just state it bluntly. And street, why? Like, the way the street people talk. It's trash. Like, it's just... Oh, man. Okay. So, make it your passion to learn new words from God, okay? If you love God, you will love your English dictionary. And you will love learning new words from God. You just plain will, okay? The word diction and dictionary, obviously, come from the Latin word dicere, which means to speak, okay? I'm like, you want to pick 3 good books for kids? I'm like, the Oxford English Dictionary, okay, obviously the Holy Bible, the Holy English Bible, okay? Blue Letter Bible is a kingpin website to go with it, to get your Hebrew and Greek and your roots and all that. and all the different English translations at your fingertips, which is extremely useful, especially Young's literal translation. Okay? Because the King James misses so much, as do all English translations. They can only give you so much at the surface, okay? And that's why there's so much depth and there's so much more to get to the bottom of. For example, in the fruits of the Spirit, you know how the Bible lists 9 fruits of the Spirit? Well, the 7th one is faith, not faithfulness. It's faith. The Greek word is faith. If you read Young's literal translation, you actually get the closest thing. I go on Blue Letter Bible and I jump straight to Young's literal translation as an English go-to, for any verse, because he hits it as close as possible to the Hebrew or Greek every single time, in the words that they come in the Hebrew and Greek order, which is very important because we know that God, Father, always gets the last word, and word ordering is important. And I just jump straight to Young's literal translation because he does not mess with anything, thank God. But it's a massive difference that you understand that the 7th fruit of the Spirit is faith and not faithfulness, like the King James translates. There's a huge difference between me thinking about faith versus faithfulness. It's like, faith is like, anyways, you can think about that for yourself. Okay. All right. In fact, it's like night and day, because when you walk in the Spirit and you live by faith and in the Spirit, you're like someone who Jesus says, the wind bloweth wherever it goes, and you go all over the place, like a bird. Like, it's almost like, most people, when they think of faithfulness today, they think about someone sitting in a seat and being faithful to one company or people group day in, day out for years. It's like, well, there's actually very little faith required in that kind of, behavior. Just sitting in one seat in your office, being faithful, for years on end, you're just like, that actually requires very little faith, and it's actually very far from the true spiritual life that God wants to give you. So that's why I'm saying the 7th fruit of the Spirit is faith. That's what it should be translated. The 7th fruit of the Spirit is faith, not faithfulness. Okay? It's like, Jiminese, people. The further you get away from the truth and from God himself, it's like, the more dumbed down and the more dull and non-fiery things are. On the contrary, the closer you get to the red-hot truth and our God alone, who is a consuming fire, it is so hot that the average person in this culture will not be able to deal with you. They'll be like, I can't handle this. And you'll be like, yeah, you can't handle this because you're so duped up and overweight on your drunken, wheat products, and you're so dumbed down by entertainment and lies and all this superficial junk that you actually cannot handle the concept of eternal paradise and eternal rewards and eternal damnation and all the true stuff. Ay, ay, ay. So cool, Gematria. The lead. It's so cool, the joy, God's joy in being the lead to all of us. The lead parallels the lean, okay? A leader will be leaner. That is to say, like literally, you actually do have less fat on you. You're like, no, I eat healthy. And it keeps your mind sharp and alert. I'm like, the body's the temple. Like, you gotta sanctify your diet. And it's all related. Like, as you sanctify your diet, God sanctifies your spirit, and he sanctifies your mind, and he sanctifies your being. Like, Moses did not eat cheeseburgers. Oh my goodness. Tim Hortons is from the devil. I need to say it straight up. Like, who is Tim Horton? Some hockey player? You're just like, Canada, it's drunkenness. It's deadness. You're just like, and that's why people don't even know how dumbed down they are. Two things that you need to change. If you are a Canadian and or an American, there are two things you strongly need to change in order to get set free from being dumbed down chemically. Number one, get gluten out, okay? Because it's a depressant. It's not real wheat. It's genetically modified, yada, yada, yada. It's a depressant upon your mind. And that's why the whole gluten-free movement has begun, okay? Just don't eat any wheat, okay? For right now, while it's GMO garbage, okay? Secondly, drink your daily cocoa powder, your God food, your Theobroma cacao. Do those two things. And within less than a couple days, your brain, and get rid of coffee, get rid of caffeine, get rid of cigarettes, alcohol, that crap. Do those things, and within less than a couple days, your brain will feel more turned on and more fresh and more clear and more alert, and your whole body will, than it ever has in your entire life. And you will be like, oh my goodness, the devil is really killing people one day at a time, isn't he? Yes. How does Satan kill people? Often slowly. Through their daily food. Yeah. Yeah. Satan wants you dead. He wants you depressed. He wants you foggy in the brain. He wants you unhappy. He wants you miserable. He wants you sluggish in the head. He wants you slow. He wants you angry. He wants you grumpy. He wants you pissed off. He wants you complaining. He wants you unbelieving. He wants you negative and cranky and whiny. And your diet is so closely related to all of these emotions and all of these feelings, it will make your head, you will be like, oh my gosh. Once you make the basic changes, gluten out, cocoa in, no caffeine, no alcohol, okay, for a while. By the way, when Jesus turned water into wine, that wine had 7 times less the alcohol content than the stuff that is sold in your average bottle today. That is what most highly educated, highly God-seeking scholars estimate. Period. Okay? So if you still say, well, wine is from the Lord, yeah, but the alcohol content back then was way less than the stuff that is presented to you today. And you do not drink any beer because that has gluten in it, so it is a double killer. Okay? Yay. Yay. The devil wants you stupid. The devil wants you uneducated. The devil wants you dumbed down. The devil wants you to think that you're stupid. The devil wants you to feel sluggish. And we could go on about, God wants you to feel fantastic, alert, alive, sharp, on fire, in the zone, on cloud 9, paradisical, drinking your daily cocoa powder, just clean diet, yada, 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 okay? So, that's why I am prophesying. In my lifetime, I will see human beings, and some human beings arise on this world stage from the dawn of their birth, and by the grace of God, they will be far more blessed and far more wise and far more sanctified from the beginning of their life all the way till the end than the majority that we see today that have forsaken God, have forsaken healthy eating, have forsaken purpose, have forsaken the knowledge of God, have forsaken prayer, have forsaken, the seeking of the Lord and the serving of the Lord. And I'm tired of seeing the misery, and quite frankly, you actually don't need to see it, okay? Spend time beholding the things that God is leading you to behold, okay? And, yeah, it's like God will take care of other people's awakening, okay? You pray for them. God is already sovereign behind your own prayer for them, your own expression of a desire to see them change. Well, God's already way behind that. It's like God is the one who's behind healing everyone. Like, it's so ridiculous, man. Half the time people pray and it's like God's like, I was already over that. Like, far better to listen to God in prayer. Keep your mouth shut and just listen. There's way too many talkers in the world, not nearly enough listeners. Not nearly enough. And it's all going to get exposed. I'm like, if you blab your face off day and night and don't have a generous silent prayer life, mark my words, at age 90, it's really going to show on the world stage and in the history books who actually listens to God and who